going on, all you bus nuts, geeks, and enthusiasts out there? Welcome to another episode of Motor Coach World. My name is James. I am now 6 days into my trip driving a double-decker all-electric bus across the U.S., the Van Hool TDX 25E. And I figured today, since I'm kind of stuck in Tucson, Arizona for a few days, I might as well make a video for you guys. Now, if you didn't know, I've been live streaming for about 15 to 30 minutes a day, every day that I've been on this trip, just to keep you guys updated for those of you who wanted to follow along. So feel free to check out those videos. You can still watch them even after my live stream ends. But in today's video, I'm gonna kind of go over what I've experienced so far from day 1 to day 6, the goods, the bads, and the ugly of this trip. I don't think I've had a smooth charging session since I started this trip. From Newark, California to where I am now, Tucson, Arizona, every charging station I've been to has been a stressful and unpleasant experience. Anything larger than a regular size sedan will simply not fit into any of the charging stations. With a 45-foot long bus that stands over 13 feet tall, you really have to be creative and willing to do some unorthodox things so that you can get your charging port on your bus to reach the charger plug of the charging unit. In the process of doing so, you're also kind of irritating a lot of people around you, from the EV car owners because you're blocking of other empty charging stations, to regular cars trying to get around you because you're also blocking a throughway trying to get your bus to fit. Now, on top of that, after spending all that time carefully maneuvering the bus into position to charge and not hit something in the process, it absolutely sucks to find out that the charger that we pulled up to doesn't even work. Now, on all of the chargers, there is a customer support number that users can call to have a Electrify America tech support person reset the charger over the phone. The problem is, the first time I called them while in Cabazon, California, I think it was, I was on hold for about 45 minutes with no one answering.
We are experiencing high call volumes and appreciate your continued patience. This will be the last message you'll hear. We will continue to play music until an agent becomes available.
Now, it started to get late and I ended up giving up that night, and we ended up booking a hotel reservation down the street and stayed the night. The next morning we tried to charge the bus again, and again it wasn't charging, and Dennis called the Electrified America number, and we were on hold for a good 2 hours.
Right. Okay, James, 2 hours.
We've hit the 2 hour
2 hour mark, on hold.
Now, after 2 hours, a guy finally answered, and just to tell us that he could not help us. We ended up moving to another charger, which caused us to block 4 additional car chargers, and actually managed to get the bus to charge enough to get onward to the next location, but not without inconveniencing a bunch of EV car owners that couldn't access empty charging locations because we were simply in the way. Now, I notified Roman, the CEO of ABC, who's sponsoring this trip, and he sent an email to Electrify America to see if they could maybe give us a different number to call, and the response from Electrify America in the email was this: Roman, the Electrify America network was designed and built to support light-duty vehicles only. As we have previously relayed, we cannot support the use of buses and trucks at our site. So yes, I know I brought up the fact that these charging stations do not fit large buses very well, and I understand that these did not have buses and large vehicles in mind when they were built, and that much is obvious, but that's not what we called about. That's not what Roman asked about in his email. First of all, based on the response we got from Electrify America, does this mean that a person driving an electric pickup truck pulling a trailer is also out of luck as well? And second, does this mean that EV car drivers don't have to wait 2 hours on hold when they call? Is it because that we were driving a bus that no one would answer our call? I mean, well, after talking with many EV car owners while we were sitting there charging, it seems that they are just as frustrated about the fact that half the chargers never work at these charging sites. And when I mentioned to them that I tried to call Electrify America's customer support, many of them looked at me and said, don't even try. They never pick up.
When you come here, when you go to the stations, like you got 4 change stations, one works.
Yeah.
It's always the same thing.
Really?
Always the same thing, yeah. Good luck trying to get them on the line though.
We're finding that out.
Yeah. How long have you been on? Almost 2 hours now?
1 hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, almost 2 hours.
So at 2 hours we'll have a celebration
So what
and show it
happens
to
if
them.
that's the only?
So it seems that it's not just because we're on a bus that no one's picking up the phone at Electrified American. I have a hard time believing you didn't answer the phone because you somehow knew that we were on a bus and maybe not worth talking to. I don't know. Now, in their defense, the next day while we were at Tucson, Arizona, we called Electrify America again to see if they could reset a charger for us because it wasn't working with our bus, and someone actually picked up after 2 rings. And she was very accommodating to us. Her name was Dee, and it was just absolutely a pleasure to work with her. So thank you, Dee. If you're watching, you're definitely a credit to Electrify America. Now, on top of all that, another thing EV car owners expressed to me while we were sitting here chatting was how it can be very tense and sometimes violent at these charging stations as EV owners get into fights over these charging spots.
You could have used that charger too. Is it not working?
I don't know. I don't know.
Which charger? That one?
Yeah.
I'm impressed
No,
by the
one is broken.
I'm still looking at the bus.
Yeah, if you go around, the screen says unavailable.
Man, the people who are going to come in a little bit are going to curse at you, man. The way you park the bus. I mean, it's like in another half an hour, you will see people coming in like.
Yikes, that doesn't sound very pleasant. Now, during my charging time in Buckeye, Arizona, a guy by the name of Brian, who was actually a repair tech for these EV chargers, came up to me and we had a really nice chat. He said that anytime it's hot outside and there's direct sunlight on the black charging hoses of these charging stations, the charger is just not gonna put out a lot of power because of the heat. Now, some EV charging stations I noticed had canopies to protect the charging stations and hoses from sunlight, and many of them, though, do not. While we were in Quartzsite, Arizona, our charger was barely putting out 20 kilowatts when we actually needed 150 kilowatts to effectively charge the coach in a reasonable amount of time. We sat there for about 3 hours just to get 10% of juice. And we basically just got enough to make it to the next charging station in Buckeye because we probably would have ended up sitting there for days at 20 kilowatts output. Now, another issue with the chargers is that they don't always keep charging. Sometimes while you're charging your vehicle, the charging session will stop randomly if there's any kind of a hiccup. Some charging stations will actually shut off after a certain amount of time has elapsed, even though your vehicle is not fully charged. So it really sucks when you're charging your vehicle and decide to grab a bite to eat or just look around at the local strip mall and come back 3 hours later to see that your charging has stopped after getting your vehicle up to 30%, and now you wasted a bunch of time and a bunch of everyone else's time that's waiting for your charging spot, and you still have to wait to charge your vehicle to full. Now, the Electrify America app is also kind of hard to use as well. If you open it to charge your car after someone else just finished, sometimes it will still show that your charging spot is in use and won't let you initiate the charge until you completely close down the app and restart it. Sometimes you even have to go as far as deleting the cache of the app from your phone before it recognizes that that charging spot is actually open and available to use. Now, on top of that, also sometimes the apps will show that a charger is broken or unavailable, but when you walk up to the charger, it actually does show that it's working. So instead of being able to use the app now, you have to use your credit card, which unfortunately you already have to put money on your app. Now you're kind of tying up your money on the app and not being able to use it, and you have to use your credit card to charge your vehicle. So that's also something I noticed during the trip here. The app also doesn't seem to accurately show what capacity a charger is. Sometimes it'll tell you that the charger you're pulling up to is a 350 kilowatt, and then you walk out and the sign on the charger says that it's actually 50 kilowatt. Now, bus-wise, the Van Hool TDX25E is actually a really nice ride. I absolutely love driving this thing. It handles very nicely for being such a giant monstrosity that it is. And being an electric bus, it's actually very quiet and it has a very impressive turn radius. The coach is 45 feet long and 13.2 feet tall. Now, many of you asked this question. The bus is equipped with solar panels. It has a solar panel mat on the roof. But the energy that the solar panels bring in are only for powering the low voltage side of the coach. Things like interior lights, blower fans, media, that kind of stuff. The solar panels does not bring enough energy to help recharge the high voltage end, which is what actually powers the motor and gives propulsion to the coach. Now, the bus has really nice acceleration, but going uphill through steep mountain passes, it becomes really sluggish. We slowed down to 36 miles an hour trying to climb the Tejon Pass as well as a few parts of the Arizona desert when it got really hilly and mountainy. So overall, the bus drives really nice, except uphill through these mountain passes. The second level of the double-decker coach is absolutely gorgeous, and if you ask me, the best seat in the house is on the second deck, all the way up front of the coach. My kids have been loving the ride from up front, and they've been hogging those seats the whole trip, and I gotta say, I honestly can't blame them. So some of the things I don't like about the bus are, one, the driver gets no cup holders whatsoever. Now, Van Hool, seriously? Oh, I get it. Is it because that it's an electric bus and Van Hool feels like the driver doesn't get enough drive time anyway to even need a drink nearby? Sorry, maybe that was a bit harsh. Can we please still be friends? Please don't hate me. Another thing I don't like is that it does not have cruise control. At first I thought it was just not working, but was told by one of the ABC technicians that none of the electric Van Hools actually have cruise control because they can't figure out how to tell the electric motor how to maintain a certain speed or something like that. I don't know. Now this is what the one tech told me. I won't say his name in case he's wrong about this, but ABC, can you please comment on this? Is this true? Is this why my bus has no cruise control? Now, with all that said, ABC has really been on point when it comes to supporting us, and their techs have really worked tirelessly in meeting us at certain points of the trip to make sure that everything was working properly. Now, even though we've had a few technical difficulties on the bus, ABC techs have always been there, and I'm very impressed with their support capabilities. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention is that I purposely chose to drive through the southern end of the US because there is a record-setting heat wave down here right now. And when I saw that before we left for our trip, I definitely wanted to see how the electric bus would perform in this extreme heat, which is why I chose this route. It's been 114 degrees these last few days as we've traveled through the California and Arizona area, and I've learned a lot about how the heat can really hamper a charging session. It's also very hard on the bus as well, as right now we're kind of stuck in Tucson, Arizona because the controller board on the bus stopped working because of the extreme heat, and now they need to replace it. Now we're actually in Tucson, Arizona now for the second day, and the ABC tech is actually with us, and he's currently waiting on a part to arrive so that he can install it and we can charge our bus again and be underway. Now with that said, guys, ABC Van Hool is not on a mission to get rid of diesel buses. Their main product is diesel buses. They love the clean diesel technology, and from Roman, the CEO, and Tom, the director of marketing, ABC is very proud of their diesel fleet and diesel products. Diesel isn't going anywhere, but ABC as a bus supplier in the bus industry, they're not afraid to test out and try new technologies. And I gotta say, the area where these electric double-deckers are thriving in is actually in Silicon Valley, where many of the big tech companies are chartering hundreds of these EV coaches to perform shuttling services. So again, folks, if you want to keep up to date and follow along with me on the rest of this trip, watch my daily live streams. I won't be posting one today since I'm actually putting out this video, but definitely check out my live streams and my posts on Facebook as well. And folks, if you missed my live stream, you can always go and watch it after the fact, as the video will always remain on my YouTube channel even after the stream ends. With that said, folks, thanks for watching, and as always, if you're watching this, you are part of the motor coach world.